Aburi was to find a solution after the two coups, after the January 15 coup 66 and the July 29 coup 66, and the disturbances that followed, the pogrom that followed. Aburi was to find a solution. So our leaders went to Aburi, they sat together and took decisions. And from grapevine, we understood that it was even our colonial masters that advised one side to say, don't accept these decisions. They are not for your own interests. And these are some of the things that led to the war.
Having reflected on the terms of the Aburi Accord,
Yep.
do you feel that accord would have solved the problem?
Yes, I believe very much in Aburi Accord. The Aburi Accord is still what a lot of us are pursuing today. We are still saying, when you hear true federalism, it is all about Aburi.
Was Aburi not confederalism?
Whether you call it confederalism or not, it was to me more of true federalism.
So Gowon failed by not keeping to the terms of the Aburi agreement.
Yeah, but remember again, when you talk of Gowon, don't see Gowon as a person there. How old was Gowon? At that point, Gowon was about 32 years old. Gowon was about 32 years old. Gowon was as naive as the rest of us.
Was Ojukwu naive?
Well, Ojukwu was not as naive as Gowon, to the extent that Ojukwu read history. Remember, he was a graduate of history. So at least he had a broader outlook.
Was he more prepared than Gowon in that meeting?
Yes, he was. Definitely. He was more he went there more prepared.
He was prepared.
Yes, please. Yes. You will see it. You will see the signs of his preparation. Yeah, you will
So
see.
he got he got what he wanted.
He got most of what he wanted. But at the same time, Gowon, I must tell you, let people not blame Gowon. Gowon was very, very forthcoming at that meeting. He was honest to himself. He tried to find a solution to the Nigeria's problem. You will see there he was quite an innocent, honest young man looking for the unity of Nigeria. So Gowon himself believed in Aburi.
But Gowon did not say that.
When
he returned to Nigeria, he gave it a different interpretation.
No, not he. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But he released a statement.
Yeah.
He made a broadcast.
Yes.
And he gave an explanation of what Aburi meant to him and the federal government.
No, it was an afterthought. It was what I told you. The colonial masters went through the northern politicians, not Gowon. They didn't go to Gowon. They went through the northern politicians and told them the implications of Aburi. Then the permanent secretaries met and redrafted it completely and rejected most of the parts of the accord.
And the Eastern region came out to say on Aburi we stand.
We stand. And that's the beginning of the problem. That is it. That was where we lost hope, because we saw immediately they came back from Aburi and we heard how they went to Aburi. Everybody felt now Nigerian problem has been solved. But after these negotiations or consultations, the federal government came out with a statement that no, that's not what they meant.
So Achike Udenwa is also saying on Aburi he stands.
I believe in it up till now. When I talk of true federalism, that's what I mean. Look, Nigeria is a creation of
Aburi talked about regional commands.
Yes, the army was and it was implemented. I remember in the East then we had the Eastern Command, Eastern Regional Command under Colonel Hilary Njoku. In the West, they had Western Regional Command under, I think, Colonel Olufemi Olutoye was the commander of the Western Command. Then they had the Midwest Command under Colonel Comrade Nwawo. under Conrad Nwawo. It was the North that they hadn't quite put their own together at the time.
And you want that system now?
Well, it's not just the army command. It goes beyond the army command. Now the army command is not the most important thing in terms of whether it goes regional or not. But what we are saying, now we have 36 states that we should be able to decentralize government. Let me use that word, decentralizing government. What I would mean would be that we have to reduce the items on the exclusive legislative list in the constitution. We reduce them and have a few things in the exclusive legislative list. Then the other ones we put in the concurrent list and the residual list.
So what would the federating units look like? The states or the regions?
Well, this is another. It is all is subject to negotiation. I cannot say exactly what is going to be, because I know some people have said, okay, we go back to the regions. While some people said, no, we have progressed to the level of states now. We cannot go back to regions again. So these are things that are subject to negotiations. They are not casting rock.
So at the Aburi Accord, Ojukwu was prepared. He said, look, let's reduce tension. Let's allow each region operate fairly, semi-autonomously. Let's minimize unnecessary contacts that will bring pain and suspicion. It will still remain a country, could have everything, our defense together. But Gowon agreed, because he saw that he was going to save the nation from going to war, save the nation from crippling, and restore some peace. He agreed. They signed off.
At Aburi Accord.
Aburi. So Ojukwu came back and we all hailed and said, thank God, we're staving off war, staving off this. A few days after that, Gowon now reneged. He had come, his permanent secretary, whatever, those they call super PAMSECs, and they confessed, people like Asiodu, people like the former Kenzo, the former Oba of Benin, they were super PAMSEC then. They said they reviewed what was agreed. They found that Gowon had given too much to Ojukwu. He had given too much to Ojukwu. Can you imagine? And giving too much to Ojukwu. What's the meaning of that?
By agreeing that everybody should be and control.
They told him not to accept.
Don't you think Western powers were behind the reason why the Aburi Accord failed?
I wouldn't see what would be the real benefit of Western powers. I wouldn't see much benefit.
The benefit there is that they said that was the period that the oil was discovered. The oil boom started. So don't you think the Western powers want to have that control on that oil? That was the reason why they had to influence Gowon on what he did.
I wouldn't think so, because Nigeria was not the only place having oil. Oil was in the Middle East. If Nigeria was the only place, I can say that's the only source they have.
So if I get you categorically, you are trying to say that Western powers were not the one that influenced Gowon.
No, I don't think it's Western power. I don't think the influence was overwhelming. I don't think so. Why? I believe that it was the same Nigerian conspiracy, the same selfishness, the same greediness of these PAMSECs. They told us, they had interview that they felt they had given too much. So, it was to protect their own ego. So what they wanted to achieve by saying, they say, look, they say, how can a part be dictating to the whole? It was just ego. How can it be one man? What he says is what we're going to do. He's just ruling over one part of a nation. We have the 3/4 of the nation. What can he do?
How is it?
Because 3/4 of what, you come to a negotiation. You come with your own 10 points. I come with my own 10 points. We agree on my own 9 or 7. And I agreed on 2 or 3 of your own.
Oh, I see.
So Ojukwu had a predominant, the logic of Ojukwu, his persuasive power, convinced Gowon that his own position was superior. without undue influence. But when he now went back, the people around him,
And they were north and west. Those people.
they were yes now, because it was a war. It was a quarrel between the west, the east, and the rest of. As I told you, part of the reasons that this coup was carried out was to make Awolowo the prime minister. Part of the coup, beyond fighting corruption and the poor leadership of Tafawa Balewa, they wanted to bring Awolowo, who was imprisoned by Tafawa Balewa, to become the prime minister. That was part of their reasons. So eventually, and you know where they sent Awolowo? He was sent to Calabar prison through the work of Zik, because Zik was still the president. So he made sure Awolowo was sent, because if he had been sent to North, they probably would have killed him. So it was in Calabar, which was part of the eastern Nigeria, that became an allure for him. So he accepted. So when this issue of should we accept Aburi or not, this was same Awolowo, who before this time, he went to the east, met Juku, met Okpara, and then he spoke there. It was in the Nigerian outlook. If the east goes, the west will go. The west will follow. That if the east was allowed to secede, they will also go. To one of them impetus, even the east had to stand their ground. The Aburi Accord fell apart.
With all this spying of innocent Nigerians today that's going on, and Gowon is still alive, could it be that the spirits of our ancestors are the one keeping Gowon alive, so that he can see the atrocities that he has committed? Because if you lot remember, those of you that know your history, the Aburi Accord, which was agreed between 4th to 5th of January 1967 in Ghana, between the Nigerian then leader Yakubu Gowon and the Eastern Region leader Colonel Odimegwu Ojukwu, they had an Aburi Accord. And the main reason for that accord or that agreement was to have a loose federation, so that they will have a regional government in order to avoid a looming civil war that was about to happen after many Igbo people were massacred in the north a year before, 1966. They went to Ghana, and that agreement was agreed in Ghana as Aburi Accord. They had that agreement. Now, when they returned back to Nigeria, Odimegwu Ojukwu and Yakubu Gowon agreed that Yakubu Gowon was going to announce the Aburi Accord. They will have a loose federation. They will have a federation kind of government where people will manage their affairs, and every dispute will not be settled with force. People can have right to manage their military, manage their police, manage their affairs, and do all that, so that we will have peace and avoid a looming war, civil war that was about to take place in Nigeria because of the same thing we are going through today. But Yakubu Gowon, he was influenced by certain people that think that they are more Nigerian than the rest of Nigeria till today, because the British made them to feel they are more Nigerian than every other Nigerian in Nigeria. So Yakubu Gowon failed to announce Aburi Accord that led to the same civil war that they were trying to avoid, that took the lives of over 3 million Igbos during that same war. But they will come and paint history. They will always paint history and tell you lot what you lot want to hear. Look at us today. What we are going through today. You think this thing started today? This has been going on since 60s. And if you lot have been listening to my video, I've always said this. The problem of Nigeria started since the day the British set their foot in Nigeria, because they did not come for democracy. They came for business. And since 1960, we have never remained the same. Those that agreed for what you call today as, the people that govern themselves, those that agreed for the 1960 independence, agreed prematurely and out of selfishness. And they carried on with the same corrupt system that the British left in Nigeria to embezzle our natural resources up to today. And I've said it, from 1960, we have never experienced good governance, because we have never ever had a patriotic leader. If Yakubu Gowon was patriotic enough and said, no, we are standing on this Aburi Accord, what will happen, let it happen. If we perish, we perish. Yakubu Gowon did not do that. He danced to the tune of the northern elites who believe that they are more important than anyone else. And then the British, who are also the one ruling Nigeria. Till today, that was what caused the 1967 Civil War. They were trying to avoid, that took the lives of innocent Igbos. and also took the life of other Northern leaders, other Nigerian leaders. Other people were also died as a result of what Ojukwu was trying to avoid. The Igbos have been trying to play cool. Other people have been trying to play cool in Nigeria. But what is holding Nigeria is greater than what a lot of us can see. And you lot think ordinary protests will solve the problem in Nigeria. No, you ain't going to solve shit. It ain't going to solve nothing. Let me sink it into you people's empty head so that you lot can understand that this problem of Northlands being bite did not start today. It has been happening. And you see Plateau State. This is not the first time. Plateau State have been going through the worst since the 80s. They've been buying these people. They've been buying them. I had an uncle who lived in Plateau State and he's in his late 60s, early 70s now. Since he was a child, since he was like a baby, they had to run away from Plateau State, run to Lagos, because that was when they've been buying Plateau State people. And you don't think this thing started today. It's not going to stop anytime soon because it did not start today. We have never been blessed with a patriotic leader. And what we are going through today is what the Nigerian government should have solved in 1966, 1967. Aburi Accord would have solved this problem we are going through today. Aburi Accord. Remember that, do your research and learn about your history. You will understand that what we're going through today did not start today, and it's not going to stop anytime soon until we are ready. You lot know what to do. You lot know. You know what to do. Kenyans did it. Other people, Madagascar did it. But we think, say, nobody won't die, but we all won't go heaven.
If Gowon had signed the Aburi Peace Accord or kept to his words after the Aburi Peace Accord meeting, all these senseless killings happening today will not be happening. And you know that's a fact.
Madam, Ojukwu went into the Aburi agreement to automatically declare the independent state of Biafra. But he sugarcoated it, you understand? He used fancy words like, let each region draw apart till it's able to secure the safety of its citizens, you understand? He went in to disintegrate Nigeria. Do you know what a loose confederation is? A loose confederation is a fancy way of saying a confederate system of government. Full autonomy over your region meant you had control over your army, you had control over the resources in the region. So there will be no central power, you understand? And decisions had to be made, you understand? That means the CNC, there will be no CNC in Nigeria, which meant the head of state could not declare state of emergency in that state. That meant Nigeria would be 4 different states, you understand? So the war that happened was inevitable. Jesus Christ himself couldn't make Aburi agreement work, you understand? Ojukwu capitalized on the ignorance, naivety, young age, and political inexperience of Gowon, you understand, into signing the Confederate Agreement, you understand, which he called a loose federation. You understand what I'm saying? Go and check what happened in the United States. That was the same thing that happened in the United States. Even if the Aburi agreement had gone through, war was still inevitable. So Ojukwu was the only person that had the power, you understand, to avoid all the bloodshed that happened. But his ego won't let him do that.
All these things happening to people in Taraba and Benue states. Now the karma and the result of waiting Gowon do. Ojukwu in Aburi Accord in 1967. When he tell Gowon say, this country Nigeria go dey at war at last. Mohammed then share the country into 2 then get 3 region. Ojukwu say na lie. That time, the Nigeria Islamist bandit people then deceive Ojukwu deceive Gowon, to make and wage war against Ojukwu. Now today, that thing happening in Jos is as a result of waiting Gowon creates put for ground by betraying Odumegwu Ojukwu in 1967 for Aburi Accord. Now, when the Biafra war they fight, people from Benue State, they also betray the Igbo people, supporting the northern people at the time of that war. That is why you say the northerners see them as a betrayer, and that is why they are going against them very fast to make sure they eliminate all the people that betray the Igbo people before they come to the southeast. My own be say the thing where they happen, I thank God say Gowon is alive, make regret kukuma sees in life for wetin him do in the Biafra war, for wetin he no hear from Ojukwu in Aburi Accord in 1967.
Good day to viewers all over the world and welcome back to Local Journal. Honestly, I think if we had the Aburi Accord and if Gowon had accepted the Aburi Accord like it was discussed in 1967, I think Nigeria will be better off by now. All these whole issues we are facing today as a country, as a people, we won't be facing them today. Nigeria would have been better off and the both regions would have been doing very well and would have gotten a very easy path to secede from each other anytime we want to do that, because those clauses would have been included. But as it is today, so many things are happening in the country. The same people that pushed Gowon not to accept it there, it was a ploy by Ojukwu and the southern part of Nigeria to deceive the north. They are the people at the receiving end today. If you look at the way Nigeria is going today, the middle belts have experienced a wave of constant attack by these same people and these same charlatans who advised Gowon not to do the right thing. And of course, Gowon too will be regretting those actions today, that he jettisoned the Aburi Accord and Nigeria remains a singular entity today, bedeviled with myriads of problems. You can see that nobody will be happy at the situation or with the situation we are currently facing and witnessing as a nation, and that's owing to the fact that Nigeria was never supposed to be a singular country. It was never supposed to be a united colony which the British brought together. You can see that the north and the south, they are two different people, and there is no way people can grow if they don't accept or agree to work together in one accord. The culture, and there's so many differences that differentiates the north from the south, and these differences are something that are inherent and something that the north wouldn't let go because of how deeply rooted they are and how extreme they are when it comes to their religion. So this is not going to make the two regions work together, even if we say this Nigeria must continue and there won't be any tolerance for division. There is no way this country will work. It's not as if we are trying to curse this country. The best way for this country to move forward is either through regional government or through division. They should just go back, review the Aburi Accord, honor it, and Nigeria will certainly bounce back. But with the way Nigeria is going, if nothing is done urgently about it, I'm sorry, there is no way out of this. This is my opinion. Drop what you think about this in the comment section, and if today is your first time to visit our channel, please kindly like, share and subscribe to our channel.